Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screens from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I am one of your creepy co-hosts. I am Casey.
And I'm Sam the Damned, and let's get screaming.
We are reanimated with excitement on this episode of Screens from the Basement to welcome actress, producer, and horror icon Barbara Crampton to the basement. Barbara joins us to chat about her role as Sylvia in the psychological thriller Teacher's Pet, available now on digital and video on demand.
Horror fans, of course, will know Barbara for her roles in RE-ANIMATOR, From Beyond, You're Next, Jacob's Wife, Suitable Flesh, and of course, the incomparable Chopping Mall. It was an honor to sit down with one of our favorites to grace the silver screen and continue to be an advocate for horror cinema. Please enjoy our conversation with the amazing Barbara Crampton, chatting Teacher's Pet.
Hi, Barbara. Thanks for being on Screams from the Basement. We're so excited to talk to you.
Oh, thank you for asking me.
Yeah, thank you for doing this. This is going to be fun. We're talking about Teacher's Pet today, which is a tense psychological thriller in which you play Sylvia, who is the foster mother to our main character, Clara, who Clara's character, she begins being entangled in a web of deception and lies and mystery and intrigue and mind games with her brand new teacher, Mr. Heller. So what initially led you to this project, and what was it like playing the character of Sylvia as that relates to Clara's character?
Thank you. Luke Barnett is a friend of mine. He plays Mr. Heller. And he said, "Oh, I'm doing this movie with Noam Kroll, and he's an up-and-coming filmmaker." And he was the one that suggested me for it and said, "I really, want some of my friends around me, to have these various roles." So he actually helped Noam find a few of the actors. And I was attracted to it because it was a departure for me, something different than I played. Mostly I'm in horror or, lately I've done a little bit of comedy, which, is like a new thing for me. But this is more of a psychological thriller and in a supporting mom type role. And I thought, well, this will be a nice thing for me to do something just a little bit more in the realm of the real, and being a little bit more nuanced in my delivery and for me, for the story, even though, it was a tense thing, it wasn't as tense for my character, just a familial kind of issues and tenseness there. But as far as being in peril, I wasn't in peril at any I wasn't trying to kill anyone myself. So I usually pick roles because either the role interests me or it's different, because I don't like to play the same kinds of characters all the time, or it's really about the people involved. And and I like the people.
Yeah, that's awesome. This movie explores kind of like the relationships between adults and children and mentors that you have, and like the dark side of mentorship. But is there a certain person in your life that you had growing up that you looked at as a mentor that you that kind of took you under your wing and helped you when you were starting off?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And yeah, definitely it is about that, about kids who, you don't normally think that you're going to be afraid of a teacher. Why would you be afraid of, why would a teacher harm you?
Yeah.
Kids are taught that, we have these people in our lives who are adults who are paving the way for us, and we should listen to them and follow them. And so it's kind of shocking that happened to Michelle's character in the movie. But yes, in my own life, I would say I have an older sister. She's actually staying with me right now. And
Cool.
My sister Linda, I would say, more than my own parents, I feel like my sister Linda, not more than my own parents, but she really helped raise me because she was 10 years older, and I really looked up to her, and she kind of took me under her wing at different times in my life, also when I needed help and things, and has really been there for me and is a great communicator. And so I would say my sister Linda has been like, a mentor to me my whole life, since I was really little.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Another
The duality of that is that, Mr. Heller seemed like he was, a good guy. And in some ways he did, help her to be a better writer. But, he was also wanting to kill her. On the same side, we're all human beings. And, even my sister has said some things to me that give me pause. So it's not like at every moment you can even trust. I guess it's a cautionary tale, this movie. Even if you have any mentor, look out. You always have to trust your own instinct when somebody even suggests something to you that you agree or you don't agree, with what their advice they're giving you or help or whatever. And I think Michelle's character her instinct was up about this guy, and she didn't like him, but nobody believed her, because you don't believe kids. We tell them a lot when they have feelings about things. We say, oh, no, you're wrong. You can't be right about this. And, unfortunately that happened to her. And that, you hear stories like that even today about, kids that stuff happens to them and they try to speak out and people don't listen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thematic element to this movie is the idea of legacy and what legacy you leave behind. Because Mr. Heller, his whole thing was he's trying to mold Clara in his own kind of twisted image. By the end of the movie, you figure that out. But in your own film career, you've had obviously quite the legacy, from RE-ANIMATOR to Your Next to Jacob's Wife to one of our personal favorites, Chopping Mall. For us, our question is,
Yeah.
what do you think your film legacy is going to be if you would go into the future 100 years from now and you ask horror fans, what's the legacy of Barbara Crampton in film? What would you hope that legacy is?
Thank you for asking that question. And I said this to the last journalist I just spoke to. I want to be the Betty White of horror. So I want to, in all the different decades of my life, have had a presence. So, now I'm kind of going into my older mom. I could be young grandmother in a very short time. Complicated older women characters, or boss lady. And then pretty soon I'll be the grandmother type. Old lady, biddy horror, psycho biddy, whatever. Yeah. I just want to say that I kept going and I worked in all decades of my life. That's basically it. And whatever roles come along. I just hope that I can, keep working a few jobs a year so that I've never stopped. I've been doing this a little years, and if I had a 60-year career, that would be fun for me, I think, to just keep going. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you've also, you're not just acting now, you're doing all this producing work too. Like you've produced things like Jacob's Wife, like Suitable Flesh, and pulled double duty on both of those movies as an actress and a producer. Um, do you prefer doing that? Do you prefer like producing and acting, or is it sometimes nice to take kind of a break from the producing side of it and just focus on the craft of acting, like in Teacher's Pet?
Producing is a lot of work. And you're with a movie for a lot longer. It's like, 2 to 4 to 6 years by the time you convince people that it's a worthy project. And then maybe you did some rewrites on the script, you find the director, you find the money, you make the movie, you edit, you put it out, then you have to talk about it for a couple of years. So it's really long. And it's I don't necessarily have to be in movies I produce. I produced Rebecca McKendry's movie a couple of years ago, Glorious, that I wasn't in. But and even with Suitable Flesh, I wasn't going to play that part initially. But we wanted to actually have some diversity in the movie, so we were going to try to get a person of color for Heather Graham's friend. So we were talking actively about that. And then at one point, the money people said, we kind of want you in that role. Would you do it? And I was like, well, let's get somebody else that's, a minority or something. And they said, no, we kind of want you to do the role. So then I went, okay, I'll do it. So really, it was only like a month before we started shooting that I agreed to do it. And I think that turned out fine. But, producing has been more difficult lately. I still have some things that I'm actively in development on and trying to get money for, and, some directors attached to some things, but it's difficult. So even over the past year, I've said, maybe I'll just sit back and wait for the phone to ring, because it does ring every once in a while. And, what should I do? But I mean, I'll always try with a few projects. I'll always have some, in my pocket that I can pull out if I can help get them financed and made. But I mean, I like working in all aspects of movie making, and I like being on set. I like doing the PR. I like development of scripts. I like acting and just getting the call. So I just like the creative process. So we'll see. I mean, part of being in this business is you have to have a lot of trust and just see what comes up, and most of the time you make, like in your own life, you make plans for things and you think things are going to go a certain way, and then something happens and you have to pivot and you go, oh, this is what I'm doing now. So you have to have a certain amount of trust and just going with the flow. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going with the flow and seeing what comes up.
Awesome.
Love that.
Yeah.
As I can speak for both Sam and I, we love what you're doing. So please keep on doing it. We love to see it. So Barbara, one last question for you to leave you off with here. We love double features on our podcast, and as horror fans do, we just love watching movies back to back. So when people watch Teacher's Pet, which will be out on video once this episode drops, what movie would you pair Teacher's Pet with, either to watch before or after, as like the ultimate double feature if you were to program a movie back to back with it?
How about Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer?
Oh, yeah.
But watch Teacher's Pet first, because it's a little bit more palatable. It's sort of like
a little tamer.
Appetizer for the meal of like, oh, Henry Portrait is that's like the scariest one, right?
Oh,
Disturbing.
Yeah.
So, as disturbing as Luke Barnett is, start with that, and then you can go up from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
Well, Barbara, thank you so much for sitting down with us. We really enjoyed Teacher's Pet. We enjoy your work immensely, and we're happy to finally have you on the show. So.
Oh, thank you so much, you guys. I love your set there. You're like in a theater.
Yeah, I'm actually at work right now because the heat in my house went out. So.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal: providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.